Hello, my buds, my friends, my pals, new friends, old friends, enemies, lovers. I have one lover. Hi, Jill. Welcome back to another week of One More Round with me, your host, Tricia Black, the show where I sit down with a variety of guests and have a drink or two or three. It's kind of like an East Coast kitchen party, except that kitchen this week is in my living room and the party is the conversation. This week we have not one guest, but two very special guests. They're wonderful, lovely, talented improvisers here in Toronto, Coko and Daphney. And our conversation was so delightful, and you'll get to meet them here in a few minutes. We talked improv. We talked knowing people and forgetting when you met them because you feel like you've known them forever. And we talked, of course, a lot about Game of Thrones, which was very fun for me because I haven't watched Game of Thrones in a very long time. So it was a nice recap of a beautiful memory of Game of Thrones, minus that last season, because to me it just fell right off. I don't believe it was a good season. They really let go of some amazing character work that they had going with some of the main characters, and all in all, just wasn't overly happy about how it ended. It felt rushed. I think a lot of fans felt that same thing. You watch a show and you become so invested in it for so long, and that's how you're going to do it? That's how you're going to end it? Oh, come on. I think if we, as a collective of Game of Thrones fans, all sat down, I think we could probably bang out a rockin' final season. And I'm sure there's some amazing fan fiction out there. So if you know of any, or people who are doing some cool Game of Thrones sketch or fanfic or anything, let me know. Slap them in the comments because I want to see that. But Game of Thrones, again, really good. How's everyone's week? How's everyone doing? My week, it's been pretty good. I've been staying at my girlfriend Jill's house for the last week, and that's been lovely to spend lots of time with her. And, her cat and my dog do not get along. Her cat's name's Ruthie. Very cute tabby cat. I love her. She's just little. Reminds me of my cat that I had when I was little. I called her Samantha. I don't know why Samantha was the choice. So we didn't call her Sammy. We didn't call her Sam. We just simply called her Samantha. Full name. And she was my cat when I got her. But then over time, at some point, my mom kind of took ownership of the cat. And Samantha and I got along really well when we first got her, when she was a kitten. My mom was scared because we got along so well that she was scared because Samantha used to sleep on my face at night. And so I think my mom thought she was going to smother me by accident because we loved each other. Then as Samantha got older, she got meaner. And we used to have this like really long stairwell up to our like bedroom area, like the second floor in our house. And she used to chase me up those stairs. Chase me and like tear at my ankles, and I'd be like, Samantha, and my mom would be like, get along with your sister. And I was like, I don't have a sister and I'm only child. This is a cat. So that's my experience with cats. Now when she got older, she became very loving again, and it was very nice, and she lived, I think, 22 years, and it was sad when we lost Samantha. So Ruthie reminds me of Samantha. Same kind of energy, like very sweet, but also got to watch out a little bit sometimes. But my dog Maggie, who's like a large border collie, Labrador, Whippet kind of mix, the vet said she was going to be 40 pounds, and now here we are. She's 80. But they don't get along super well because Ruthie hides under the couch, so it scares Maggie. And Maggie, I think every time, because she's a dog and sometimes forgets where she is terrified of Ruthie every time, like clockwork. And sometimes I'm like, Maggie, she's there. She's the size of your head. So that's been something we've been trying over the last few months to get them accustomed to each other, but it is taking some time. So hopefully they'll get to know each other a little bit better and love each other. And today in Toronto, there was tornado warnings. I feel like I said this last week that I was like, there could be a tornado in Toronto, but I'm not sure. And there were actual warnings. It was full Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton twister out there, and it was a bit scary. And Maggie was terrified again. Another thunderstorm for my poor girl to be scared of. Bless her little sweet soul. Also, I have new bonus episodes coming out that I'm calling a Nightcap with Tricia Black, where I just discuss things, all pop culture that I've come in contact with or have enjoyed through the week, and that'll be things like music, reality TV, old nostalgic movies, things that we all love, where I welcome everyone to listen in and discuss with me. Once a month, we're going to be doing them live, and that starts next Sunday, July 26th, with my OG guest, Mr. Tom Hearn. We're going to be talking everything Britney Spears, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I think I have spoken long enough off the top here, and I think it's time for us to go to my delightful, wonderful interview that I had with the wonderful Coko and Daphney. So let's go to that now. They are an improv comedy duo based in Toronto, Canada. Together they have performed all over North America, including New York, Boston, and festivals like Brave Festival and Just for Laughs off JFL. They're known for their fresh perspective, slice-of-life comedy with a lot of black girl magic. I am so grateful that they are here today. I love them both. Please give it up for the wonderful Coko and Daphney. Yay! What a treat! Oh, this is so nice. I'm just truly so excited to have you both here. When I first started to put this podcast together, you were on the top of my list. So It is a pleasure that you're both here. How are you?
Good. Oh, good. We just watched Game of Thrones yesterday, so that was real fun.
I know. I saw your Instagram story, and I love it.
So upset.
I love Daphney. You've never seen it before?
No. So
she's spoiler free.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't say a word.
Is winter's coming, and that's it. And I know some stuff. There's things I think I could have predict. Because you watch, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a switch here. My favorite, Khaleesi.
Yeah, Khaleesi, yeah.
I knew she was going to do something badass with the dragons. So I'm very early. Like, I just finished season 1. So I saw
more.
Everybody saw you just finished season 1.
Everybody just saw you.
This show is very, it bothers me. I become obsessed with it. I go home and I start thinking about it again. I'm like, I would have done it differently. What did he do? So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, of course.
But I like it.
And there's how many? Wait, there's 6 seasons? No,
there's 6 more seasons for us to watch. I think there's 7 altogether. So I'm very. Well, one of them is super short.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a season.
And have you?
Short?
Yeah, but the episodes are long. They're like 80, 90 minutes, whatever. So, I mean, I'm very excited to watch this, to experience this through Daphney's eyes.
Yeah.
And because I've seen this show many times, because I rewatched every season, every time there was a new one, so that I could re-understand everything. So I know exactly when to turn on the camera on Daphney.
The exact moments when the most important, insane things are about to happen.
Absolutely. I'm in the corner being like, and she's so in it.
Yeah. Oh, in it. Like, you're in it, Daphney. I watched those stories today, and I was like, I would watch an entire show of you watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm in, when I watch a show, I'm not someone, even though I talk a lot, I'm not going to be talking to people a lot, but I will be like talking to, like, I feel things. I feel it. So there's times where I would see things and everyone is dying. This show does not give a fuck who you are. If you're the lead, the second, if you got to go, you got to go. Yep. So I was really.
If it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah. I was just like, you're just going to die like that? And so I have to grieve the loss of some characters that I really enjoyed. And there's a guy that I met for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, he's very funny. And then he was gone. And I'm like, oh, I him a lot.
It's so
So-
funny when Ned dies, which is a jaw dropper. Daphne turns to me and she goes, "Just like that."
It is, and that sets such a precedent for this entire series, right? It's like no one is safe, and that's why we love it too, because you don't know when your favorite character is about to go.
Yeah.
And I've seen the whole thing, and I love it. Like, oh, I'm so excited for you, Daphne.
Yeah.
You have a really exciting journey ahead of you. I'm like, now I'm thinking about all of the things that when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, what? No.
Yeah. Yeah, people will message me and be like, "Oh my God, wait till she sees this scene. Wait till she sees that scene." And I'm like, "Yep, I know."
Yes, and and I want to put this out there into the world. If people are listening and know Daphne, or people are watching and know Daphne, do not spoil this show.
Oh yeah, do not spoil it. I got so upset. Her sister told her just like, "Oh, she also." I was like, "Why? Why did she do that?"
The same thing. My sister specifically said, "This girl is a badass." Coko told me that girl's a killer. So you spoiled it more than my sister.
Not say she's a killer. I said in the books, the difference between the books and the show is that she drops bodies. And the reason why I told you that is because you were like, "Oh, she looks like a killer to me," because she was given the sword and she rather fight than be like a
my sister specifically said, "This girl is a badass. She's my favorite." So that's all I got from that. I didn't get anything else. So
which character?
Aria.
Aria.
Oh
yeah.
Coko told me it was her favorite, and then I spoke to my sister. My sister's like, "She's my favorite. She's a badass." And I'm like, "Oh, I like Khaleesi. I really like Khaleesi."
Yeah, Khaleesi.
Yeah. I like Khaleesi too. There's what I love about that show too is that I feel like you change characters so quickly as to who you love, and then who you're like, "Oh, I don't like them anymore, and now I love this person," and just their character development's so cool. Oh.
Yeah, it's so true, because like, without getting into it, but there's one character that I hated through the whole show, and I was like, "Yeah, you get what you fucking deserve," and then in the end I was like, "Oh, I love them now."
Yeah,
I don't like that little boy. He's the one I have a lot of problem with.
Joffrey? Oh yeah, don't worry. You'll never like Joffrey. Joffrey is he's a freak. He's a freak of nature.
I know this is all. We took your podcast just to talk about.
I love it. This is what this podcast is about: is just chatting with some friends or like people that I love, that I want to get to know, or that I think other people should get to know. And I was going to bring up Game of Thrones anyway, because I just watched those stories this morning, and I truly was dying in bed watching them, being like, I could watch you, Daphne, watch Game of Thrones, but also while listening to Coko watch you watch Game of Thrones. And it just like, it solidifies what I believe your friendship to be, is just this like genuine, sweet, kind, loving people who just care so much about each other, but have this like familial relationship with each other. Like you feel like your family, and when you watch you two, whether you're doing an interview or you're just we're chatting at the bar with each other, or you are performing on stage, like you really have that wonderful quality to the two of you. And that's what, like, I don't know why I keep using the word permeates, but I like the word now. I feel smart saying it. But it does. It, like, you can feel it permeates on the stage, and you can feel that energy watching the two of you perform together. And it is such a joy to truly watch you. And you're so real on stage too, which I love, and I've always loved since we've met. Which, when I feel like when you know people for so long that you're like, when did we meet and how did we meet? Because I don't remember
actually. Yeah, because I feel like as long as I've been around, I know you, but I don't know when.
I don't know when it started.
Yeah,
I know Daphne, you and I were in featured players together at Mad Dog.
We knew each other from before, because I remember
maybe Second City.
Oh my God, it's not specific, but I remember the old training center watching you perform on stage. And I remember going, "Oh, here's Tricia." So I knew I knew you.
I know.
I have, but I can't. This is really interesting, because Toronto, I can't say Toronto, but for me, since I've been in Toronto, I feel like the time since I've started performing, everything became like bubble and nothing. I can't really tell. Like, I know where I met Coko. Like, that is very specific in my mind. But a lot of people just feel like you. I just know Tricia.
Yeah. I know.
Forever. In my mind, we've known each other for
years. Yeah.
And it has been years.
I kind of love that about the comedy scene, though. Like in Toronto specifically, is I've always loved that you can walk into, like, it's like Cheers. You can walk into a bar any day and know someone in there and just sit down and start chatting. And I've always loved that about the Toronto comedy scene.
Yeah. Me too. I love it. When I first moved here, and it took me a couple of years to, like, once I started, I think I've been here a year, and then I started doing the musical Improv at Second City, Toronto.
That's where
I feel like that's probably where we started to, like, get to know each other, but I can't pinpoint the exact moment. But I was starting to do that, and then just to try to get to know people through the community, I would go to, like, Comedy Bar or Bad Dog or at the time, what's the one by Second City? The Roxy Bar and stuff, and like just go there. Charlotte Room. Yes, it was the Charlotte Room. Now it's Roxy Bar. Yeah. But I remember just going there and, like, always running into, like, one person, and then the night would go on till 2 a.m, and you're just chatting with people and you're having a great time. And I did that. I feel like I did that for so long. Like when I was in the Sketchersons, I would just go to Comedy Bar on a Monday night to sit at the bar and talk with, like, Dawn, who was working, or whoever was doing a show that night. And it is such a lovely part of the community is doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that
agreed?
And I know, and it is really funny. I can't even pinpoint where we met, and I just love it. I just felt like we were close.
I do have an image now that you said Second City Conservatory. I have an image of you in that yellow jacket.
The yellow jacket.
Yellow jacket.
I played a fisherman.
I remember you were singing, and it was so funny because I had seen you perform before, but I don't think I knew that you also sang. I don't know.
You're right, sang, yeah.
And I saw you on stage, and I was like, hold on.
Who's that?
Tricia is funny and could sing? What the fuck? I didn't know that side. I didn't know you were also a singer.
Coko, I see you sipping on something. What are you sipping on?
Oh, I'm drinking a pineapple Radler.
Oh, Ace Hill?
Yeah. So they have a box of 4, and the flavors are pineapple, lime, grapefruit, and lemon cayenne.
Ooh.
Yeah. So and it's good because I like this because it literally says beer and juice.
So they just put juice in beer?
They just put juice in beer. That's all it is. So you can drink it when it's flat. You can drink it when it's bubbly. I like it.
Okay, that sounds nice. I like that. I like lemon and cayenne because a part of me feels like it's like that. What's that diet that everyone
cleanse, the master
cleanse. The same thing. You just need to put a little bit of I think it's maple syrup or
maple
honey.
Syrup.
Yes,
but it's already got juice in it, so it's like there's your maple syrup or honey. It's great. I love that. I'm having a Woodhouse Pilsner. They're close to where my girlfriend lives down in Brockton Village. I think or the Brockton Triangle, Little Portugal area. They're great. And it's the afternoon, and I love a good afternoon brew, because why not? We're in quarantine and we're living our best life.
Yeah.
Daphne, I know you're not a big drinker, right? Is that
yeah, it's just if I had to pick between drinking and smoking, I'll go with smoking. So I am smoking this Sativa. It's called Purple Champagne. And
fancy.
I like that name. It sounds so fancy.
I like that name. I love strand names.
I would love to be a person who just like come up with a weed strain name. Some very interesting. Some of them. There was one that was called Monkey Butt, and I'm like, I'm good on that.
I don't need that. Why would I want that?
Monkey's butt or monkey butt.
Like it doesn't sound tasty.
No.
It's probably amazing. It's probably like the best strain out there. But
watch it.
All like that. I'm like, should have asked me to
That's hilarious.
I can only do sativas. Can you do sativa and indica?
Yeah, well, ideally, I'm a sativa person. Like even at night, I'm a sativa person. But if someone's smoking indica, I'm not going to say no because I am a weed person in general. So, but definitely I'm a sativa person. Yeah.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're a lot harder to find for sure.
They're harder to grow friendly.
Yeah, but I can only do a sativa that yeah. I was going to ask because we were talking about how we met, but how did you two meet? Cuz Daphney, you said you had like a very specific memory of you meeting Coko.
Yeah, the first time we spoke, I remember it was during the long form Thursday shows. I had Second City, the old training center. And I just remember I did a scene. It was me and my long form group. And during the long form shows, like you would see other group play. And Coko came to talk to me after we were at Rock's Charlotte room. And during the scene, there's a guy who touched my hair, who was about to touch my hair. And then I kind of moved to the side. And then the first thing that Coko said was like, I know this person touched your hair, or like, I saw you move back when the person touched your hair. And then we laughed about it. And this is what I remember. And then we hung out the rest of the night. And Coko is the first one who took me to a comedy show because I didn't know people. Like I did my classes and then would do the shows and I would leave. I didn't know the community continued. Right. And I remember the first time she said, "Do you want to go see a comedy show?" And we went to go see Mantown. And
okay.
That's what I remember. How correct am I?
That's actually really accurate. That's actually really accurate. I mean, like, just to add to that, we had seen each other in shows before, but that was like the first time that we spoke. And I just remember she was playing a character named Trixie, and it was a cocktail party scene. And, you know, she was like this, you know, as we all do, like this, stirring our drinks. And then this guy tried to touch her hair, and she was like, and there was
like in the scene.
Yeah, but it didn't really. It didn't even add to the. There was no reason for that.
No, it was just a person trying to touch a black woman's hair, and I think we were the only two. I want to say we were the only two black women in long form at that time, and
there was. Yeah.
And we were not in the same, like she was in a class and I was in the alumni group. So imagine what that gap is between black women. And then,
huge.
But of course she was like so funny and so amazing. And then she was talking to one of my friends, Jason from Jay and Cokes. Like that's my sketch partner. And they were talking at the Charlotte room. I remember exactly where you guys were sitting. You guys were sitting in the corner that was near the kitchen door.
Okay, yeah.
And they were sitting, and then I was like mingling with people, and then I came, I was like, so, and then I started talking to her, and then we discovered like that we both spoke French, and then we found out that we lived down the street from each other in Scarborough. Yeah. So that night, because she was like, oh, I gotta go now because I have to take the bus. It's going to be 90 minutes. And I was like, where do you live? And she goes, in Scarborough. And I was like, where? And then she's like, oh, Victoria Park and Shepherd. I was like, shut up. I live at Kennedy and Shepherd. Stay. I'll take you home after. Took her home. We ended up talking till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. In the car.
She had to work in the car.
Oh my God.
She had to work at 9. She was like, whatever. And then after that, we were kind of inseparable after that. Yeah. And there was a moment where I believe that a lot of friendships go through this, and it's not a friendship if you don't really go through trials and tribulations. And it's not to say we had difficult moments. Well, every friendship has difficult moments, but
yes, of course.
We took a bit of a break because after maybe a year of doing this, of watching shows and hanging out all the time, I was burning out just in general. And then I took a leave of absence.
We were not a duo yet.
Right. You were just, it was just a friendship at this point.
Yeah, it was just a friendship. And we were watching everything, right?
That's a
BCIF happened, we watched everything. And so,
wow.
And I was also driving, right? And so I burned out, and then I took a bit of a break. And then I entered con, and then we were like, okay, let's do something. Let's actually do something. So then we started, our friendship rekindled, and then we started also wanting to work on a project together. And then So now that I look back, so our Facebook page starts January 2014 because I was just like, I'm just gonna take the Facebook page now. That's what I like to do. I'm like,
yes, take
oh,
it,
there's
get
a
it.
thing. I'm just gonna take the Facebook page. So I did that. That's the reason why we celebrate like in January as our official start. It's because of the Facebook page. But we actually started close to like 6 months before that.
Okay.
And yeah, and then because I know we did the December show together, if I recall correctly. But anyway, so we started working together and started training, and then the rest is history, as
the
they
rest
say.
is history. Yeah, 2014. That's crazy. I also love that you were like, I just need to take a leave of absence from this friendship for a second because we're having too much fun and I'm burning out. Like, what a beauty. Like, even though you were like, we have trials and tribulations, I was like, I don't know if that's a trial or a tribulation. It's just like, I'm just exhausted because we have such a lovely time together.
But this was the truth. We were having so much fun. And I was like, I'm really tired. I really need a break.
Of course, if you're out watching shows every night, your brain is like you get so full so fast. And I feel like in this community and in this like industry, we have this need to constantly be taking in new things so that we can better our craft and better our performances. But then after a while, you're like, there's only so much improv. That you can truly watch without being like, because when I lived in Chicago for like a year with my friend Justin Collette. And I know, he's so sweet. He's like my best friend. I've known him for like 15 years, and we lived in Chicago for like a year.
Love that guy.
I know, me too. He truly is. I love him. Shout out to my sweet boy. But we watched shows every night because we couldn't work or do anything, and we watched shows. And I remember by the end when I was leaving, I was like, I'm beat. Like this was a lot. And like while it was so fun, but it does take a lot out of you.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also like I'm like Daphne is an extrovert. Like Daphne is an extro introvert. I'm an intro extrovert.
Right.
Like we both have both sides, but my dominant is an introvert. And so being around people for that much for that long, I was like, I can't. Like, because with every time you go out, you have to talk to everybody. Then you have to be like, bye. And I'm like, peace, I'm out. I'm out. Type of person. And Daphne's like, oh, what happened? Da-da-da. And I would always have to leave and come back and be like, we're going. And then she's like, I'm coming. And then she'll start three other conversations.
Yeah. I feel like that's like how I am too, is like that I have to say goodbye to everybody, or that was me. And now I just go, okay, bye. Just peace out.
And it's also because, when I remember at the time, I was so happy to have found that part of first of all, I came to Toronto. I was so sad because I wasn't performing. All I did was work. And that's really hard when you're coming here for a purpose and then you're not actors, it's tough because it's not like there's a book or there's no right way to do it. You just gotta do it. But what does that mean? So it was at a point where I was like, okay, I'm taking classes. Nice. I feel this part is opening up. Oh, wait, now there's a community. Wait, there's something about some of these shows mean that you're at another level. Okay, I need to do this. So, and I have trouble finding my limits. I could do it until I don't know I'm burned out. Like keep watching show, keep being there because I think this is what I have to do. So when you get to a point where when you realize that it started to affect your mental, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I came here for a reason. And I'm really like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be watching the show. I'm supposed to be, I need to be better. I'm not. And at a point, you're like, you actually need to take a step back and know, where are you as a comedian? Where are you as an improviser? I can't just watch everyone else. And there was no me time. It was just, I need to be out. I need to do this. And the next day, I still work a 9 to 5. And my 9 to 5 was over 40 hours because I also worked on the weekend. So it was all your energy split between going to work, doing comedy, watching comedy, taking classes, and then creating these bonds. I had nothing to compare it to, right? I'm never
but they pay off later, right? Like we talked about at the beginning of being able to walk into Bad Dog, being able to walk into Comedy Bar. I mean, no offense, no one's walking into Second City and doing that, but because it's not like a chill
It's not a
right?
chill. It's not. No,
Yeah.
it's meant for an outer audience to come in and watch a show. It's not for students. Yeah.
So in order to have that facilitation now, that took years of bonding with different people, like to be able to now go into Bad Dog and be like, yo, what's up, Anders? Because Anders is working. Yo, what's up, Andrew? Because Andrew is working. Whoever's at the box office, hey, Regine, and you just start chilling with whoever's working and start talking to them. So it's like that is the pre work of how we got here.
Of how we got to where we are. Absolutely. Because it is like, I remember there was a time where I was out every night. Like, and I also worked, like I worked an 11 to 7 for 4 to 5 days a week. And then I would rush to like Comedy Bar, Bad Dog, do a quick show, and then stay until like 2:30 in the morning, just talking to people, trying to make those connections and like trying to be like, oh, who, and also just making friendships, which is a big thing for me. Like, I think, like, I guess, like, connecting with people so that you can maybe be on a show and stuff as well. And that networking is important. But for me, it was like, I just want to get to know these other comedians that I would love to play with as well.
But see, that's the thing. I agree with you so much, Tricia, because I think one of the things that's very different about like, I don't know about all the other scenes, but about like comedy in Toronto and our particular improv bubble is that the word networking doesn't quite function the same way as it does for other industries. Because I've been to other parties, TIFF, JFL, where you are just networking and the vibe is very different. I think because our base is improv, like our artistic base is improv, and improv is based on team building. We actually genuinely want to be friends with people because nobody wants to walk into a show and do a 6-people ensemble and you don't get along with anybody, but you network your way there. Like that's
absolutely not.
We've seen those shows. Those shows are not fun to watch.
They're not
fun. So I do think that what's really special about the improv scene specifically is we are building friendships. And I remember at the beginning, of course, like, you know, and Daphne, we've talked about this, viewing it as this is work. Like we're working, we're building relationships, but we're working, right? And so my big rule was I don't date in the scene. That was my big rule about, like, I was like, I don't date here because I don't ever want to be in a headspace where I feel I can't enter any of the spaces. Like I worked too hard to get there. And so, but everything else, it's like, it's friendship. It is friendship, right? Because like, otherwise, like you, again, like as a producer and someone who directs, you want to cast people that you get along with or that you've seen do shows. Like it's not just like, here's a card, you know, I can improvise, right?
Right. And you're like, no, I don't actually.
You're like,
and also, I don't know you that well. But also it is important. Those connections are important too, because it definitely, like I said earlier about you two and watching you on stage, you can see that joy when you perform with somebody that you actually know or have some sort of history within, whether it is just like a few hangs or that you just get along with your personality. You can really see that, especially in improv, because sketch is a little different, I guess, in that you can kind of act your way through it if you're a good actor. But improv, because you're using your brain so much and so quickly all of the time, if you're not having fun with the person you're on stage with, it comes across and then the scene dies. It falls flat. Because the audience also can tell that you don't like each other. It's very obvious.
We've seen, I'm sure we all have very specific scene that we have seen where you're like, these two don't like each other, or these two probably are having not a good day, because even the argument in the scene feels like a real argument. Really yelling at each other. Improv is, you can't fake improv.
No, because I always say, like, it's an instinctual art form. It comes from the base and core of who you are. So even if you're playing a character, the character is based on some kind of instinctual truth that you know. And which is why, like, one of the things that's happening now is the introspection that is required from the community in order to be able to move forward as an anti-racist community requires introspective work, because you can't just be like, oh, the problem is outside. With improv, you're using your core and your inner self to improvise.
Yep.
And so even the imagination belongs to you. And so because of that, you have to clean up your inner self in order for you to be able to like improvise, you know, amicably with the rest of the world, I guess I want to say.
But it's like what we had said, like if all you're doing is watching other improv shows, then your scene starts to become about improv. And like I felt like I was getting to a point where I would get on stage sometimes, and I'm sure every artist or every improvisers have been through that, where I'm like, I don't even know if I'm using the same character. I don't, because everything felt like I was only talking to other improvisers. So we were only talking about improv and doing things like, and it's just, you have to bring your life experience on stage. And my life experience on stage cannot just be improv. So then it's like that weird circle of like, I'm doing improv, but I'm performing about improv and I'm talking to other improvisers. You need to get out of that for a second or just explore other things. Not even explore other things so you can bring some of those experiences.
We all need to take a leave of absence.
We all need to take a leave of absence. Here's my pink slip for us.
Sometimes other people have to tell you to take a leave of absence.
Yeah, take a leave of absence.
But,
take a leave of absence.
True. Take a leave of absence because it was through that 6 months that I was able to reconnect as a comedian for myself. Because I was just consuming so much improv that what Daphney said is like my cycle was just improv and and a humor that honestly I didn't even understand. Like I don't understand what other improvisers were doing, like my teachers and stuff. I was like, I don't get it, but I know I need to be here.
Yeah.
And then through that 6 months, because I actually took an exact 6-month break. And I remember I took it at the time that you got into con, Daphney. And then I was in con 6 months later. So I took a break. And I think during that 6 months, I just went and took one class quietly. I was like, I'm just going to take this one quiet class and not attend shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
Daphney changed. Yeah.
No, sorry. I was going to say, sorry, go ahead, Coko. It changed.
No, I was just going to say it changed the way that I improvise. That's all I was going to say.
Right. Well, and that's what that was next to the point that I was going to say too, is like you then, like what Daphney said, to Daphne's point, you do all you're doing is thinking now when you're on stage. You're just thinking, okay, how am I anding this scene, or how am I doing this? And you're being so technical about it that it's not fun, and you're thinking so much, and you can tell, and you can see in people's eyes when they're panicked and being like, am I doing it right? Is this the right way to improvise? And you're like, improv is honestly like, yes, there are like guidelines and rules to it. I don't like to use rules, but I guess guidelines are better in that there are things that make a great scene that can make the scene great. But I think without bringing in your knowledge of the world and your truth and your experience, and also allowing yourself to fail on stage and having that fun and that joy, I don't think you can have a good scene. If that makes sense.
I agree.
There's no I remember there was a point, and to follow up what you were saying, Tricia, I would come from work, and a lot of my earlier time in improv, I was on stage with my work card, my access card, because there was, and I remember during that time, everything felt so rushed. Like I finish work, I need to make sure, and again, I don't drive, so then I worked at Young and Shepherd, and then I had to find a way to get to downtown or the West End if I'm going to Comedy Bar, and I live in Scarborough. So I'm trying to do all of this, and in the meantime, I rush to get to whatever theater or venue I'm at, and I'm supposed to be like, okay, now improvise. Okay, what are the rules? Okay, like I just finished doing a 9-hour shift, and now I'm supposed to run to go do a show, and then I'm supposed to connect with people, and then and then I have to know if I'm doing the right thing. You know, especially at the beginning, you get off stage and you're like, did I yes and every offer that was given to me? And that was kind of my thing. I'm so afraid to block people. I was like, this was like something that I'm like, did I block someone? Did I accept every offer? Because I used to think I think that if someone blocks a lot, they're a bad person. So I would link those two to like,
right.
If you're
so negative.
Providing you block somehow, I'm like, ew, that means that's how you are in life. You're just walking around blocking people.
I mean, I do think that people's improvising styles is very linked to who they are. So if it usually and as I don't know if it means they're a good or bad person, but I think I know, but I think someone who blocks a lot is someone who's not willing to relinquish control in a scene, and that's what we see, right? It's like someone who really wants to drive the story, and it's like, but you're not the only one in the scene. Like, there's literally another person. How do you act in real life? Like,
yes, and like, do you listen when you're having a conversation with somebody? Probably not.
Are you just waiting for what you should say next? Like,
you're not even listening to what the person is saying. You're just like, I heard them say one thing, and I know my response.
Yeah.
And here it is. It's my turn to talk.
Great comeback for that. Ooh, I hope you.
I gotta come back. It's coming.
Yeah.
And like we all do that a little bit here and there, but especially with improv, I think you just have to have good like life skills. In that you
I would say that
responding to what just happened before. So even if you're not an amazing, this is why the best. I've taught improv to adults. I've taught it to kids. And the best improvisers are kids. Because even though they're having fun, but the reality is like they're here. They're like, we're having fun right now. So if I'm playing a role where you're my mom, I'm never going to be like, you're not my mom, you're my dad. No, they've already established that. They've accepted that rule and they're going to play. It's like what you were talking about rules and stuff like that. Improv, I kind of see it as you're in a buffet and they're like, you can eat whatever you want in here, just make sure you put your plates back. Then you're like, if you have that one rule and you play around, that's what you're gonna do. Just fuck around, touch whatever you want, open drawers, do whatever you want. Just at the end, do this one thing. So the one rule is stay here.
And you both you said you started in 2014, so that's your 6th anniversary recently?
Yeah, we're at 6.5 right now.
6.5,
we celebrated amazing. 6. Well, not in January this time because I wasn't in the country, but we celebrated in February. Yeah.
Right. That's crazy. That's so long. I love that. And you also, and correct me with how to describe this, but you were the only Black female improv troupe in Canada, right? For a long time?
We still are. We still are.
That's wild.
We are the only, so couple of things. We are the only Black improv troupe.
Yes.
We are the only Black women improv troupe. We're the only Black women queer improv troupe.
Yeah. So that's what the third. You never know. I never want to just be like, do I say that? Because I never want to like out people in case they don't like talking about it. So that's why I was like, I'll let them.
We just did extra TV. We out.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. Yeah. I saw that. I saw your interview with Extra. It was so lovely and so charming as always. I like that because I did one right before you and they were like, yeah, we have Coko and Daphney coming in next week. I was like, oh, that's so amazing. We out. Okay, good. Yeah. I always just get so nervous as to like who is like officially out and who's not. And I never want to like put that pressure on anyone to feel that. I feel like you are probably such an inspiration for a lot of queer Black women in this country, if not in, honestly, the whole North America. Because I also don't know in North America if there's, I mean, you probably do, but if there's multiple troupes that are in that.
I think there are troupes that have queer folks in there.
Yes.
But I don't know if there are an entirely queer troupe.
Right.
I know that one of the times when actually we went to Black and Funny, that was one of the things was there was a queer person who watched the scene because we did a queer scene, which is like neither here nor there for us. We're like, okay, just life. And
here we are.
And yeah, like someone walked up to us after and was like, I have never seen that.
That was very interesting because I still remember the person. And that was a person who, she was Black. I mean, she's still Black, but
she was Black. She was.
We don't know anymore.
But I thought it was very
vitiligo.
Not hard because I had never heard that from anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We do improv because we do improv, right? I don't think about the scene. I don't think sometimes I'm gonna play a man and it's gonna be a straight relationship. Sometimes I'm gonna play myself and it's gonna be like I don't have to explain it. I don't feel like explaining it. I don't think it has anything to do with the scene. It's just whatever I feel like doing at the moment. And this is where that's how I move when I'm on stage. And then I know it's the same thing for Coko. But hearing that from a Black queer woman, to say that not even in Canada, like we had to leave Canada, go all the way down to Minneapolis. It was Minneapolis.
Yeah, it was Minneapolis. Yeah.
For her to say that scene, and I'm someone that once I'm done with a scene, I forget everything that I did on stage. I don't remember anything. Because for me, this is like, this is something else. You could be yelling my name if I'm on stage. I don't think I'll be able to clock it because I'm having fun. I'm big on having fun. In that moment, I don't see it. Like the shows that I do with Coko, people will come up to me or us and will say, oh, I remember that scene. And I'm like, I don't even remember anything because it's a different part of me. And having her still affected by it was wild. I'm like, I didn't even know it would affect someone. I don't even remember what the scene was. I don't remember what I said. I don't know. But that just for her to see a Black, and the way she did it, just seeing a Black woman improviser is already a big thing. And then you see a duo, 2 Black women improvising together. And then to know that it affected her that much.
Yeah. I think those were the days that we started understanding. So Daphney and I very much subscribe to, like, I'll break this down. So on my personal, like, Instagram and Twitter and stuff, I have a quote from Viola Davis that says, "My authenticity is my rebellion." And in that, I think of like Coko and Daphney a lot. Our stage presence is already the political statement. So like our presence is already the political statement. So I think a lot of times, especially early on when we would do improv, we were only thinking of what we wanted to do for fun. And we're like, okay, so what if we played this way? And what if we played this way? And like Daphney said, like when we're on stage, it's just us. Like we love everybody audience, but we don't really see or hear you, right? We're like just about us. We're just 2 friends who are like, who are having a sleepover, and we're like, who are the parents? We don't know. And I think those were the days that we started to understand that we were a political statement in itself. And so that's when I started to be like, Daphney, I think we are the only Black troupe. Oh, Daphney, I think we're the only Black queer troupe. Oh, Daphney, I think we're the only Black woman queer troupe. And and starting to understand. And so we started to add on those qualifiers because our early bios did not have anything about Blackness, because we just operated under, we show up, you know, we're Black, and that's how it's going to be.
Of course.
And what's very interesting is the political points that people take from our improv, like women being like, I didn't know I could do that. Queer women being like, I didn't know I could do that. Queer folk being like, I didn't even know we can just play queer so openly like that. And so those kind of things. And then Black folk being like, yo, I never seen this. So it was very interesting. Like it was through time and through touring that we started to be able to understand how much of a political statement we actually were, because we never really thought about it, and we don't improvise with, and I don't want to say with that intention as if we're not political people, like we are, but we didn't improvise with the, like, for example, if you see Blackout, which is a troupe from Minneapolis, they use an Armando style, like an altered Armando style, and they talk about actual political things with an actual discussion and then improvise based off of that discussion. We don't do that. Like, we'll talk about political things in improv in the way that we think is funny. Like, I know of scenes that Daphney and I have played where, you know, one of us played a white person and then the other person was like, like Black. And then, you know, Daphney being, I think Daphney played the white person. Daphney was like, so Black Lives Matter? Are you sure? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, we just play it like that, like from a human level. So like Daphney said, it's been really interesting to slowly start finding the politics in your, with your art.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like you said, I think what I love too is that you do just do it because you love it and you're going out there and you're like, I am, because for me, labels for me, I'm like, I don't know if we need to label everything, even though I think it's important to speak on those things, because it is important that you are a queer Black women doing this art form that can inspire maybe younger folk or older people who haven't seen that before, who go, oh, fuck, I can do that too as well, because now I see that it's possible for me. And I think that's so important. But like, I think what I love is just going out and being like when I go out, I'm like, yeah, I'm Trish and I'm going to sing probably a song about being a lesbian or whatever. But that's just because I know it's going to be funny. But then when I do my improv, it's not always that. Like you said, I'll play like a man, or I'll play a really like femme valley girl or whatever. And I think that to me is so important. But it is also so lovely when you see those people and those people come up and speak to you who have never seen themselves on a stage like that before, in that art form, and go, wow, I've never seen somebody speak to my truth before. And it's so important and it's so beautiful. So you telling that story, I almost was tearing up a little bit, because it is so beautiful to hear those stories of people who are going, oh, wow, I've never seen myself up there and now I can. And it's insane to me that we haven't seen it, and it needs to be seen more, and we need to see it more. And I think having you two as these incredible role models for people we're very lucky, I think, in this community to have the two of you and what you're doing. And not only as improvisers, but as people. Like, I just think you two are just so generous and so kind as humans. And I am your friend, so maybe I am biased, but I don't think I am, because I just like, even just having conversation with you today, it just feels so lovely and warm and welcoming. And that's how I've always described the two of you, especially like when talking about serious issues as well. Like, I think you are both people who just are just so open and kind, and with your time and your energy. And I think that is very, I don't know how else to describe it, but incredible, honestly. And right now you're both doing some incredible stuff too in the community. I know especially with Bad Dog right now, Coko, you have been brought into a role that is that you have proven that you are the right person for the job. The things you were doing right now with Bad Dog and Bad Dog Comedy TV, and we'll plug it throughout. We plugged it. Paloma and I talked about it on the last podcast, so it's going to be a double podcast, double plug. But the shows are so incredible right now, and you are the new artistic director of Bad Dog Comedy Theater, and to get that position right now in a time, in a world where a huge revolution is happening, not only is it important, but you are doing such an incredible job. And I don't know if you could take a couple minutes to just speak to your work at Bad Dog right now and how it's affecting you, or like, because I know it's a lot of work. You're doing a lot of work. So
it is a lot of work. So first of all, thank you so much for that intro. I'm like, oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And thank you to Paloma as well for speaking on it on your last episode. So hi Paloma. So Bad Dog TV is kind of cool because I got the Bad Dog job meaning I started 2 weeks prior to pandemic shutdown. Yeah. So to be fair to Bad Dog, because a lot of people are now hiring, but I went into the building before it started burning. Yes,
of course. Absolutely. And you had also been the associate artistic director before that with Julie,
and
right?
I've been apprentice as well. Yeah. Yes. So that was also an incredible experience. So when I started, it was pandemic, and I was just like, well, gotta just improvise and keep it going. And when we started Bad Dog Comedy TV, it was just like 1 or 2 shows. I was like, oh, I think these would be good to watch online. And as an artist myself, I didn't want like us to just not produce any type of artistic content for a while. Like that just felt really disheartening. And so it was thinking about how to transition from the live in-person world to the digital world. And like, for example, Hookup Online is online. It's online based. It's COVID based. Like people, you play Hookup, so you know. Like,
Yes, I know. Yes.
You know, and then the Oval is, well, the Oval. And then from there, I was just like, okay, well, what else can we do? Because it felt like that buffet. It felt like that buffet that Daphney speaks of. And so for me, it really became about expanding to include and add voices that I think we just don't give a platform to for whatever reason. And it was about talking to people such as Daphney. Daphney's like Never Have I Ever was literally Daphney wanted to do a smoke session and calling me and being like, yo, you want to join the smoke session? I was like, what are you doing? She goes, Never Have I Ever. And then I was like, it sounds like a show. She goes, it's not a show. And I was like, it sounds like a show. And she's like, it's not a show. It's just, we're just going to chill. I was like, okay. Then I asked her how it went. And then I was like, yeah, so I'm going to turn this into a show now. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, like, I think this is going to be a show. I think this is a show. And she's like, is it what? And so a lot of the shows came to be that exact way, is me watching the person online doing whatever they were doing in their own space and just being like, I think this is a show. And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, we're going to turn this in, like Ayaka. I was like, let's do a show. And it's been such a joy because one of the rules that I have, and I say this to everybody, is please stay yourself. Don't sanitize it for what you think is funny. Just be yourself. So what's really lovely to see is like the non-traditional improvised show. So we have two that are traditionally improvised, which is the Oval and Hookup. And those have ensembles. And then the rest of the shows are people being comedians in their own, like, you know what I mean, space with a structure. And so, it's just been such a joy to see folks like Ayaka, Ophira, you know, Daphney, AJ have platforms to just have content. So that's, and the content really,
is so good. Like, I have watched, so good. I think the only one I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it is Ophira's sleepover show, or is it
Slumber Party?
Slumber Party, sorry.
Yeah.
Slumber Party. But I've watched all of the other ones, and they're just, like, there are shows, just for everyone who's listening, there are shows at 4:30, at 8,
9,
at 9 o'clock, and throughout the week. And you can go to Bad Dog Comedy TV on YouTube, and they are like, I watched Ayaka's Kitchen yesterday, and it was such a joy to watch. I was like, this should be this should always be a show. This is a cooking show.
Yes.
This is a funny cooking show.
And it is improvised in the sense that, like, so what we did was, like, we started playing with the word improv. What does it mean to improvise? Does it have to be just scenes, or can it be like, you know, like, for example, Daphney's Never Have I Ever. It's not scripted. It's still unscripted. Like, the conversations are just unscripted. And there's a loose structure. But Ayaka's show is so lovely because she was like, I want to do a cooking show. I was like, okay, whatever you want. If she was like, I want to do a cleaning show, I was like, I'm down. Let's
I'll watch you clean.
I'm into it. What do you want to do? You want to fold socks? I'm into it, Ayaka.
Yeah.
And so Ayaka's show is her talking to another comedian, them going through their cultural roots, bringing an ingredient that Ayaka has never had, tasted, or seen, and putting that into a sushi form. So it's like a cultural melding kind of show, but through food.
Yeah.
And which I understand because I'm part Asian. So I know that food is a very community-based thing, and it's a love sharing based thing. So seeing that, I was like, yeah, like, we're doing. And then yesterday she did it with Jen Caruana, and they had 4 cameras. What?
I know. That's what I mean. That's what I was watching. I was like, you got 4 cameras, and I was like, it's so smart.
Yeah. Because
so you can watch their hands while they cook. So you see their hands and they're cooking, and then you can see them, which is so smart.
And Jen Caruana is special because Jen Caruana is also a cook herself. And
2 little sandwiches.
They threw me into a loop because I didn't know this was happening. I was just like, can we ask Jen Caruana? Ayaka's like, yes. And the next thing you know, I turn on the show while also watching Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And I see,
of course,
I see Jan is also in the kitchen. I was like, what's going on? So they both made the sushi and they both had the Malta octopus meal.
Yeah.
And they both made the sushi. And I was like, wow.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
There was a secret part of me that, because I love cooking, I was like, I want to be on the show with Ayaka and cook something.
Oh my God,
fun.
I'm gonna put your name on the list. We have like
Please.
a list of all the shows. Like all the shows have a list of people that are like, I want to be on that show. Yes. So anyway, it's just been really, really fun to do this.
Of
and
course.
It's like I always go back to like what Daphney says, like it's just a buffet. I want to see the buffet. I want to taste everything. And it's been an incredible privilege to be trusted by the comedians, you know, to have that, to include them in the space. And I don't mean that as if they were excluded, but in reality, a lot of voices were excluded in other platforms. They were one of an ensemble, whereas I feel so privileged to have people like Ayaka, Daphney, AJ be like, okay, I will lead the show on this platform and we will do it in this way. And just that conversation of what art and community and diversity, and by diversity I mean like cultural diversity, what it can look like. So it's been an incredible privilege, like to be trusted and watching that. It tears me up every time I think of it. Like when I watch Daphne's show and she gets to be, I know she's right there, but you know, watching Daphne's show and seeing, because Daphney talks a lot about when she was a kid, she didn't really get to like, you know, play make-believe in the makeup world. And then you watch Never Have I Ever, and she goes all out with the makeup and the wings and the glitter. And you're like, yeah, I love that there's a space that she gets to just be that person for an hour.
Of course.
So it's
and
a privilege.
That show too, Never Have I Ever, which I'm on. Well, today's the 14th, so I'm on this Friday, and I'm very excited. This will come out after, so maybe in my intro after for the next week's podcast, I'll talk about it a bit in the intro of this show. But I'm so excited because that show is so charming. It is charming and it is funny, and like you said, it's not script. There's a structure, absolutely, because anything we do needs to have some sort of a structure in this art form. But to watch people just talk about genuine Never Have I Evers, and in this like very wonderfully, like I said, again, warm and just inviting space. I've watched it several times now, and it's just such a joy. And you are such a wonderful host, Daphney, and you are so just charming. You're charming. You're full of charm.
Yeah. And someone actually messaged me today and said, and after they were watching the God stuff, and said, I love Daphney's vibe. I just want someone like that in my life.
But we do. Everyone needs it.
And I was like, okay, first of all, Daphney is mine. It is Coko and Daphney. Go get your own Daphney. I'm joking. She doesn't belong to me.
But you did. You did take a leave of You took a leave of absence. So I mean,
I did take a leave of absence, but I came back.
You came back. You came back. It was just a leave. She hasn't left since, so that's good.
Yeah, I did come back. It's just so funny, and I think one of the things that really went into thinking while curating the lineup is a frustration that I had with a lot of inclusion and diversity initiatives from other spaces, which was I really felt like they just wanted our bodies on stage, but not our stories. And that really frustrated me because I was like, what is the point of me being here if you just want me to be a Black version of you? That's not what diversity and inclusion means in the way that you want it to mean. Like it just felt so. It's
like you feel like you're filling a quota of some kind. Being
yes.
Like, well, I guess because I'm up here, I speak for every single queer person, but I don't. We're all different.
And it feels like it made me feel from like when I still audition for comedy spaces, it made me feel so like disheartened, and I really felt like a monkey in a circus. Like the last kind of diversity audition that I did was in 2014. That's how I felt. And I vowed to myself I would never do that again. And that's the reason why, like, even a show that I directed, like Playlist, I always say the diversity lives in the music. We're not going to do an Armando where we're going to talk about the music and be like, well, this story reminds me of. It's just your song choice will show. And diversity doesn't always mean like bodies, it could be life experience and voice. Like seeing Ken Hall be like, yeah, so Led Zeppelin is my song choice. We were like, what? And then Rob Baker's like, so De La Soul is my song choice.
And you're like, huh.
We're like, what?
Okay, cool.
I'm like, oh, okay. Rob Baker, where you been? What's going on here?
What's your deal, man? What's that?
But that's the thing is like the playlist will come on, a hip hop song will come on. We'll all look at Daphney and me, and I was like, nah, that song is Rob Baker's.
I learned about it a lot of people too during that show.
Yeah, I was gonna say for people who don't know who Rob Baker is, he is a white 6 foot something man in his I would think early 40s.
Yeah, he's like all white hair, but
all white hair,
kind of like, but like Steve Martin, he's had the white hair for a really long time.
Yes, and looks good with the white hair.
He's like this kind of like goofy, charming, lovely person. And every week he played the playlist, he would submit, because I was the only one who knew all the songs, because we never discussed who the songs were. And part of the show is guessing whose song is what. And he always submitted like a hip hop song. And I think one time he submitted I'll Be Sure. And I was like, what? And it was just so funny. Like, and then AJ, who is Black and queer, would submit like Radiohead and Bjork. Like,
music is universal, and we all love different types,
right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is the diversity and our tastes live in the choices that we make. It doesn't have to live in our physical embodiment. Yes. And I know that in some it does, and that's not to discredit what our physical, like us occupying physical space means. Like I said, me and Daphney, as a troupe, we show up, we are already political without even starting that conversation. But yeah, so it's just, so anyway, all the shows, like even with Never Have I Ever, it's like, you hear the diversity in the stories. Like hearing about Paloma stealing her car, her mom's car, and then her mom being in the chat, you're grounded.
I know.
That was very touching to see that people who are not in the community, I had friends who are not comedians who watched the show, who were into it, right? They were like, oh, I know that drinking game. And now let's see what it looks like when you're actually, and even if they don't know the guest and they just know me or they just know one guest and they were interested to see it. And I want to piggyback to what Coko said, like when you said it's not just in our physicality, it's just because that's not all we are, right? Like that's the thing. And I think sometimes people get it confused where Coko and I are both Black, but we're very different, right? So I don't want to be yes, I'm Black, but I'm other things too. I like other stuff. I do. So if people could just accept, if we talk a little bit more about I don't want to say the complicity. I don't know the word. The
complexity.
Everything that makes you. It's not just. I'm not just a Black woman walking around. I am. I'm not going to take that away, and I like being that. And this is who I am. Yeah. But I'm not just that. And when you let me tell you everything that I am, and if you chance to say it, to tell you everything that I am, then you'll know that I have clouds on my ceiling.
And I love your clouds.
Corner of my
And you'll know that I'm mostly Asian, actually.
Yes.
And both of your physical, like the way Coko moves is very Asian. I know that's how Coko moves.
Well, that's the thing is like I am Black. I'm a Black woman, but I'm a Black Asian woman. So it's well, I did a whole show about it, but that's a whole thing. And
you did.
And it's like, I am very Asian in my cultural being. Like if I can show you my house, you would see it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's, and it's disheartening to one of the things that was always difficult. And I think I can speak for both Daphney and I is, doing those kind of auditions and people demanding that you only show Blackness and what they think Blackness is. And it's the same thing. And it's the same thing with queerness. It's like, show us be gay, be gay.
Show us all you're gay.
Show us all you're gay, but it has to be the gay that we think it is. Otherwise, it's not really gay. right? And you're like, that's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
Multifaceted.
Oh, sorry, Coco. Were you?
Well, I was just saying that one of the things that's really difficult is we don't get, and I think the world is changing and we're shifting, is we don't get to be multidimensional people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fair because we are multidimensional and we're multifaceted. And being gay can be very many different things. Like we're all very gay, but it comes out differently. Like, you know what I mean? Of course.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree. And that is something that hopefully folks who didn't realize that was a thing are now starting to pay attention to that and be like, oh, I guess I've been putting these type of marginalized people in the same box when really we all have our own boxes and we're all that are filled with our own different skills and personalities and likes and dislikes and things that we've experienced in our lives are different. Like our childhoods are different. Everything about people are individual. And I think that is such an important thing to recognize and to remember, especially for people who are trying to put us all in the same category, is to be like, oh, you know, Coko, Daphney, and Tricia are all gay. That must mean that they're the same. And it's like, well, actually, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're all very different.
Of like for Black people, that's something I saw when I moved here and started to improvise. Their version of the way they think Black people are. It's not even Black Canadian or Black Caribbean. It's African, like people from the States. So
African Americans,
talk, and I'm a Francophone. I'm from Montreal. I don't even get to the English level of Black. Like I'm the Black. I'm like French Caribbean. We're not even in this area. So for them, their version of Black is the Black that I saw in those Black American TV show. So it's Black American. So I can't even be that type of Black. Like I have, you know what I mean? In their way, it's like if you're Black, you're not even you're not Canadian Black or French Caribbean. No, you're just Black from the Black American shows I've seen. So it's like you're American Black and that's it, which is very, very frustrating because they want you. I don't want to be whatever you saw on The Wire. And I'm not.
Yeah. And I'm neither. I'm not Caribbean Black and I'm not like African American. Like, yeah, it's like, it just feels like a lot. They want our bodies, but they don't want our stories.
Of course. Yes, I agree. Now, can I do a quick little lightning round cue with you two sweet babes, where we're just gonna, I haven't named it yet. I've been trying to name it for the last 3. This is the 3rd podcast that I've done and I still can't think of a name. So I just call it Quick Cues.
I like it. I like that.
Quick Cues is what the name is this week. So I'm just going to ask you a number of questions and we're going to answer them as quickly as we can. Does that sound good?
Is there like a ring, or we just raise our hand or just answer?
I try to keep it under 3 minutes, but we usually just end up answering all the questions anyway.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah.
There's no rules. I'm just making up fun shit as I go.
No,
okay.
Just do you. Okay.
Okay. All right. Here's the first one. You can answer as you wish. But what is your biggest party fail?
Party what?
Oh my God.
Party fail.
Oh my God. I think I talked about that on Never Have I Ever, is when I ended up sleeping on the floor at Fran's because I was so fucked up. In the bathroom floor.
I think one of my biggest party fail, and I have a lot of fail, but when Coko and I traveled for the first time to DCIM in New York and DCM. What did I say?
DCIM. I don't know where the I came from. But okay.
With so much energy, DCIM. I don't know what that is.
I was like, yeah, that sounds right.
Everyone's like, oh, and we were at a party, and it was at the end of the party, and the DJ was all right. The DJ was there, and when I party, I take a lot of space. Like my arms. If I'm having fun, and I'm in New York, it's my first time traveling to perform, and at the end, it was the last song. I was dancing next to the DJ, and then I went like this, and I flipped his laptop and he went like this, and he fell on the floor. And think about, this is the first night at DCM. If people who don't know DCM, it's 72 hours of improv. So all the improvisers all over the world show up for this
This
event.
is the Del Close Marathon, right? The Del Close Marathon, yeah.
And it was this party in a 10,000 square foot space.
Yeah. And I shut down the party. And the next day, the DJ put like a rope around.
Yeah, they had velvet. Next day we showed up, there were velvet ropes around the DJ. They're like, nope, not if this woman's gonna be around. It was funny because it's like, but you know what? In retrospect, I feel like your subconscious did it because I'm pretty sure it was an R. Kelly song.
It was Fiesta R. Kelly.
Yeah, and Daphne was dancing, and all of a sudden you just hear, and everybody went, "Whoa, what's happening?" And then Daphne's like,
and I just couldn't. I'm very clumsy, but I couldn't believe that I brought this clumsiness all the way down to the stage. I thought it was something I would leave back home. I was like, you did that. I was like, you did that, Daphne. You couldn't. I
love that story so much. It's one of my favorite stories.
Because I remember I was thinking, like, how much money does I was thinking about an American laptop. That's what I was
thinking. It'll be cheaper than a Canadian laptop.
My mind was just like, this is my first time traveling to perform. It was a mess.
I just also love, I couldn't believe I brought my clumsiness all the way to the stage.
So I was like, you did that, Daphne. You could have left this at home. Nope. All the way down.
Left it at the border. Nope.
It came all the way. Okay. Coko, one word to describe Daphne.
Ooh, childlike.
He is very sweet.
Yeah, just like lovely and sweet and so innocent in so many ways, but also so mischievous and just childlike, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Daphne, one word to describe Coko?
I would say, I don't know if this is a word, very caring in a mother way. Very generous, very, very, very giving, very organized. Just a few words.
So many words.
Just a few words. Do I get a few words? Well, I did also do a few words. I was like, childlike, mischievous.
Didn't listen at all to the instructions.
Which is really funny that Coko described you as a childish and mischievous, and you described Coko as like having a mother-like figure. We see the dynamics.
Yeah, Coko and Daphne is just a mother-daughter combo, actually.
Yeah.
Also, both of us didn't listen to the rule. We just kept going with words. Like,
I loved it. Hey, there are no rules. There are no rules. Okay, amazing. Okay, and final question. The party is ending and everyone is leaving and going home after having a really nice time. How do you want people to remember you after the party?
You know what's so funny? I can only think of how I think people will remember Daphne.
Okay.
Because I know Daphne will be like, bye, everyone. And everybody's like, oh, bye, Daphne. And then she just trips. Yeah. Like she just trips or something. Or she goes and then realizes she forgot something and comes back. And then people are like, I thought you left. She's like, yeah, I forgot something.
And I get caught up in another conversation. I think Coko, the way they would remember Coko, they would come to me and they would be like, is Coko upset? Is Coko having fun? I haven't seen, Coko didn't smile at all. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's just a neutral face. And I'm like, is Coko having fun? That's how I think they remember.
Yeah, and that is probably, I think I operate more of a bit as a mysterious enigma.
Yes.
And Daphne operates more as a joyous, like, clumsy kind of joyous person. Yeah, that describes us.
I think that's good. I think that describes both of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it describes how we would leave parties.
Yeah.
Once again, Tricia, we didn't listen to the rule of the question. We talked about the other person. I don't know how they remember me, but they'll remember Coko that way. Or I don't know.
But it's true. Because the minute Tricia said it, I could just picture how you leave parties. I was like, oh, this is how Daphne leaves parties.
And I love that. I love that you both know each other so well that you can identify those things in each other's. And like I said, these are just fun, quick cues, and there are no rules to anything on this show. I just,
Fair
okay,
enough.
as we wind down this pod, I just want to say what a joy and what a pleasure it has been to have you on. And I am so grateful that you decided to do this show. Talking with you is always just such a joy. I feel like I'll just say joy 1,000 times because that is what I'm feeling right now, honestly. And I just want to ask, because I've been asking a lot of people, what if there are any causes that you would like to shout out that you think people could take a look at and read about. If they don't have the means to donate, maybe they can just see what they've got going on in the community, or if they want to volunteer their time, things like that.
Yeah, I think for me specifically, I want to just really highlight Black trans lives matter. So I don't have a particular charity that I'm going to speak of, but I think that this is an issue. Black trans women are being killed at a disproportionate level. And I think it's a matter that we really, and if you're for Black Lives Matter, then you're for all Black Lives Matter. And so I think Black trans lives matter really require our attention and our care, as well as, Black disabled lives as well. So yeah, that's what I think.
Amazing. I agree. Yes. Daph?
I agree to all. I don't have any charity, but just read about stuff.
Yeah.
Just know. I mean, I think there's so much things. I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but I think there is, like what Coko said, if you can't say that you are for Black Lives Matter if you're not going to support what's happening to the trans community or people with disability, and just reaching back, right? It's like when we talk about you're being oppressed and being marginalized, you have your privilege. Reach back, see what's going on in the back, whatever it is. Like I can't tell you, just I don't know what they are. It's not that I'm trying to be mean. There's so much, but see if you are helping. Are you aware of stuff? Just be aware of what you could do. Like of your privilege and how you move. Just check with yourself a little bit more. I don't know.
No, that's beautiful. That's
check
wonderful.
Yourself before you wreck yourself is what Daphney said.
Check yourself.
There you go. Check yourself.
Yes, get that in there. And where can we find you? I don't know where my East Coast accent came out for a second. Where can people find you to follow you on social medias?
As Coko and Daphney, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. COKOAND Daphney, DAPHNEY. Don't forget the Y.
Don't forget it.
As Coko, you can find me, Coko Galore, COKOGALORE, on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And then Daphney?
You can find Daphney Joe on Facebook and Daphney Joseph on Instagram. And I have another Instagram account where I post all my little arts and crafts, and it's Daphney with a Y.
Yes. I love your arts and crafts. I've been watching the videos that you've been making. The little Fruit Loops bowl one was so cute.
Oh my God, so
You're
cute.
so talented. And I also just love we were on a Zoom call not like recently where you were just sitting and doing your crafts while we were all hanging out. Yeah. It was so wonderful. Yeah. And I think that comes back to Coco's word for you. Very innocent and very sweet. Oh my goodness. I love it. Well, thank you so much, you two, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Always. Please come back anytime you like, because chatting with you both is just a joy.
Tricia, and we'll make sure. You are, and I just want to say, you are such a lovely person. I only have great things to say about you since I met you. You're so talented, and I'm
always so kind. Always so kind.
But very real too. You're not fake. Your energy's all been real. You are on stage a fucking beast. You killed it every time I see you. So I'm happy to have met you. Like, you're definitely one of the improviser and just comedian or actor that I know that I'm like, you.
She's a real one.
You're
a real one.
You're definitely a real one.
That's very kind. Thank you. We're all emotional. We all love each other.
Daphney also says that about Khaleesi. She's a real one.
She's a real one. So I'm up there with Khaleesi. So shit. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, there were Khaleesi, just so you know that.
Yes. Well, thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I love you, and we'll have you on again soon. Mwah. Mwah. Yay. Coko and Daphney, everybody. Oh, what a delight. They're just so sweet, and they're honestly just succeeding so much right now in the comedy world and the comedy community, and I am so proud of them as my friends. I'm proud to have them as my friends, and I had a true blast. So thank you so much, Coko and Daphney, for being a guest on the podcast. If you want to follow Coko and Daphney on social media, you should, and you can follow them at Coko and Daphney on both Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Daphne1 Joseph, or Daphne with a Y on Instagram, or you can follow Coko at you can follow Coko Delore. That's an equally cool name, but not as cool as Coko Galore. You can follow at Coko Galore for her social commentary, which is wonderful, and she's killing the game. And if you want to watch Daphne's Never Have I Ever, or any of the incredible lineup that is happening on Bad Dog Comedy TV, go to YouTube and search Bad Dog Comedy TV, and it will come right up for you. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at its_Tricia Black, or on my website, www.itstriciablack.com. The podcast is on Instagram at One More Round Podcast. Give us a check out there. If you want to watch the visual pod to see everyone's reactions, you can watch that on YouTube if you just search up Tricia Black or One More Round with Tricia Black, the actual title of the podcast. You'll be able to find it. And like I said, Sunday, July 26th, we're going to have our first live on YouTube, on my YouTube account. I will add a link in the description on YouTube, as well as on the podcast, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you find your pods. So that first live show is going to be Sunday, July 26th. I think I've said that a million times. With OG guest, Mr. Tom Hearn, and we're talking everything Britney Spears. So make sure you watch Crossroads, because that's probably what we're going to be talking a lot about. I'm going to watch Crossroads this week, so you should as well. And we're also going to talk about #FreeBritney2020, because Britney needs to be freed. Let that girl out. We love you, Britney. We want you to be safe and happy, please. But we'll go more in depth on that next week. Other than that, this has been One More Round with me, Tricia Black. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And we'll see you Wednesday and hopefully next Sunday. And no East Coast Kitchen Party is complete without a rousing musical number. So I'm going to play you out with one of those. We'll see you soon.